Welcome back to Tracy Kenpo Karate, Lesson 2. In this lesson we're going to cover delayed sword and knee of vengeance. So let's get started. First, let's bow in. Okay, let's review what we did in first lesson. We learned Chinese sword, as if you remember, it's an inward block, figure 8 motion, chop or hand sword to the collarbone, left hand in check as we draw to a soft bow. Again, Chinese sword, 1, chop, soft bow, left hand in check. The second technique you learned in your first lesson was Japanese sword. We're still following the sword premise, and this time instead of coming to the inside of the punch, we're going to step in with an extended outward block to the outside, left hand in check, right hand cocked high, chop the collarbone. So again, Japanese sword, step in, extended outward block, pivot to soft bow, chop the collarbone. Now the third technique we're going to learn is delayed sword. This is another sword technique and a different showing of how to do the same type of motion. This is close to Chinese sword. You can almost call it a family relation. As I just showed you, Chinese sword comes in, chops, soft bow. Now we're going to do the similar part as far as the upper body goes, except we're going to add, instead of stepping in, we're going to step back into a cat stance and do the same motion. So the premise is, as the punch comes in, we don't have the room to step back to a full fighting stance, nor do we have the room to step in because they may be coming in too fast. So to lose some distance and get us in position to defend and counter, we're going to step back into a cat stance, throw an inward block, front snap kick the groin as they double over. We're going to use our drop of body weight to chop the collarbone and draw back into a chamber position. So let's break this down. This is called delayed sword because we're delaying the action of the sword strike. So from here, let's start with this, breaking this down into step by step. So the first thing I want you to do is just practice with your hands up, step back, draw to cat. Okay, again, just step and draw to a cat stance. Now you don't want to step all the way back, completely across the room, or anything like that, because you want to stay within the critical distance line of striking with your front snap kick. So this is just try to think of stepping back into a fighting stance, but instead of staying there, you're going to do the same step, but draw your right foot up onto the ball into a cat stance. So you have 90% of the weight on the back leg and 10% weight on the front leg. Again, just this first part, just get the hands up and practice just the cat stance. So we're going to step and cat. Okay, now we're going to add the next move. The next move is our Chinese sword. So this part of it you should be familiar with. The hand comes up as we step back, left hand comes into a check position. As we slide to our cat stance, we're going to throw our inward block. Okay, so let's just do that step. Step back, hand in check, right hand cocked, ready position, inward block as we throw, or as we draw to a cat stance. Okay, again. Okay, let's practice that a few times until you can get it down to one smooth motion. Now remember, we want the inward block to come across the whole entire body. We don't want to come in and we like this, because we want to make sure if it's a left punch we can still cover it. So the hand comes up, over exaggerate that motion. Again. Okay, now let's add the next 2 strikes. Now from here, we're going to do our inward block. We've blocked the punch out of the way, but it's still quite a bit of quite a distance out of the way from the chop. So we're going to throw a front snap kick to the groin. They're going to double over, and as they do so, we're going to use our drop of body weight and our hand sword strike across the collarbone and draw back into a chamber. Again, inward block, front snap kick to the groin, drop of body weight, hand sword strike to the collarbone, draw to chamber. Okay, the front snap kick, you can either use the instep if you want to go up into the groin. You can use the ball of the foot, or you can use the point of the toes. It's really going to depend on what type of shoes you're wearing and the environment you're in. But as long as you can get that strike to the groin, you're good. Again, step back, hand up, inward block, front snap kick, rechamber that kick, set the kick down, and as we set the kick down, we're going to use that drop of body weight, chop, and draw. So this is what you don't want to do. You don't want to kick, drop, okay? So you want to kick, rechamber, set it where you need it to be. If you need to, you can go a little further forward to get that distance you need for the chop, or you can kick and slid it down a little closer to get that same distance, followed by the chop. Okay, again, hand in check. Up, draw to cat, block, kick, rechamber, set down, do not drop, hand sword to the collarbone, draw to chamber. Okay, one move, block, kick, chop, chamber. Okay, again, block, kick, chop. Okay, last time from this angle, step back and block. This is one complete move. Kick and chop back to chamber. So practice this first part as many times as you need to get that smooth, fluid motion. Kick and chop. Okay, from this angle, same thing. Get that motion down first. You want to do three things. Step back to cat, check, and block. Now from here, we've done our block, we've thrown our kick. We're going to set that kick down into a position that allows us and lines us up with the chop to the neck, and we're going to use our drop of our body weight to get the power we need for that strike. Again, one, kick, chop, and pull. So, just like that. Okay, from the final angle, there again, step back and block. This is really important to get that one motion down. Kick, set it down, do not drop it, chop, and draw back to chamber. Again, one, kick, and chop. Okay, last time from the front view, remember, one motion, inward, check. Front snap kick, maintain and set that kick down where it puts you in position and lines you up with your target. Chop and down. Okay, again, one, two, three. Now as we talked in Chinese sword, when you do that inward block, that's going to push that hand out of the way and expose the collarbone. And the premise is once we do that and we throw the kick, your opponent's going to be doubled over something like this. So he'll be now forward, which will give you the distance you need for the chop, and he'll have that collarbone nice and exposed. Last time. Kick and chop. Okay, that's delayed sword. So now you got Chinese sword, Japanese sword, and delayed sword. All using the hand sword of the hand, except one goes to the inside, one goes to the outside, and one uses a delayed reaction to do the same thing. Okay, practice that, and then you can come back and we'll do knee of vengeance. Okay, now that you've practiced that, let's do knee of vengeance. Let's talk about knee of vengeance for a second. Knee of vengeance is one of the first techniques you learn when you take a Tracy's introductory course. Almost every Kenpo stylist in Tracy's and White Tiger know this technique. I do it slightly different though than the Tracy's do it. Tracy's a very Japanese style oriented system. In other words, they're very linear with their motions. And as they do the technique, they teach it from a standing position. Someone just comes up and grabs, so you knee, stomp, cradle, and crush. Problem I have is people aren't just come up and grab. When someone grabs you with both hands, they're going to shove you or pull you. Most of the time they shove you first and then pull you back in. Or they're trying to push you up against the wall or something to that effect. So we don't want to stand excuse me, in a standard position trying to do this. Because especially if a big guy really comes in and grabs and shoves, you're going to fall backwards. That's going to cause you, as you can see, to be out of position. You're not going to have the power for the knee. You might be able to get it in there, but it's going to be really a sloppy mess. And if you're not careful, you're going to end up on the ground, which is where, as a Kenpo stylist, you really don't want to be, because we specialize in standing up. So we want to keep ourselves on our feet as best as we can. So what we're going to do now, as the guy comes in and pushes or grabs, we're going to step back. And what this does is it comes in and pushes. Now we got our stability. Okay? I can't be pushed any further back because my back leg is locked out into a hard bow. Now this does two things. One, I regain my stability, but two, I now have my knee set up for a much stronger knee strike to that groin or midsection. I believe in Tracy's they tell you to go to the midsection with this. Midsection, groin, either way is acceptable, but I usually have the students target the groin area, as it's much easier to get into that than it is always to get to the solar plexus. But either one is an acceptable target. So, first thing, they come in, they grab us, they're probably going to shove, so we're going to step back in preparation of that, and then we're going to counter grab. Now, depending on your size compared to your opponent's, the counter grab can anywhere be from the biceps up to the shoulders. Either one of those will work. Just make sure you grab a good solid hold of their clothes or gi. So we're going to step back and we're going to counter grab. Now that we got our knee set, we're going to drive it straight in as hard as we can and just straight up either into the groin or the solar plexus, depending on where your opponent's at. From here, then we're going to stomp straight down. Now what we want to do with the stomp, as we step back and grab, here we want to take the heel of the foot and stomp on the small bones of the foot. Now the small bones only take about 10 pounds of pressure to break, so it's very easy to break the top of the foot and those small bones. So as we step in, we're going to counter grab, knee, stomp the foot. Now this is going to put you in kind of a precarious temporary position or a transitional stance. In other words, we're not going to stay here for any length of time. It's in and out. We stomp the foot, but we want our toes pointed somewhere between the 9 and the 10 o'clock position. And we want our back foot, which is our left in this case, up on the ball of the foot. This sets us up for our torque power or our circular power for the next move. So again, step back, counter grab, step back with your right knee, stomp the foot, counter grab the hair. This is what we call a cradle and crush. We're going to take the head, grab the hair or the ears, and just cradle the head there. That gives our hand a target to smack. Now, what I don't want to see is this. Don't stop. Use your hand as a target and follow through until it hits something. Now the reason we do this is if you practice this and it becomes muscle memory, when you actually get into a fight and you're here and you've stopped like this like 3,000 times, guess what's going to happen in the fight? Whether the head's there or not, you're going to stop because that's what your body knows. So we want to teach the body to hit something solid. Don't stop until it comes into contact with something. Hopefully his head. So we're going to step back, knee, stomp, grab the hair, pivot, cradle and crush. Okay, again, step back, knee, stomp. Now, a lot of our students call this the Jerry Lewis stance. Get a lot of giggles out of this, but everybody remembers it afterwards. And if you ever watch any old Jerry Lewis movies, and for a lot of you out there, that's really old movies, he kind of does a scene with that kind of a walk in it. So we call it a Jerry Lewis stance so that students can remember the step that they're doing. Counter grab, knee, stomp the foot, cradle and crush as we pivot. Now the arm and the leg move as one. See how my hips move? It's not hip this or this then hip. These two are on the same string. One motion. Now on the foot, a lot of times I'll see students working in group class, they'll be working this technique and their head's down because they're trying to get that foot. Okay, the foot is a secondary target. In other words, if you get it, that's great. If you don't, keep going. It's not going to change the technique if you miss the foot. Okay, it makes it easier to continue on with stuff because now he's in a lot more pain than he was. So when we grab here, boom, just go straight down into that stance. Hopefully if everything's set up right, his feet or toes or something will be in that vicinity. Grab, cradle and crush. Okay, again. Back, knee, stomp, cradle and crush. When you're done, you're in a nice, good, solid fighting stance or a horse stance. Okay, let's try it from this angle. There again, we're going to step back with our right and get our stability. Okay, this way if someone is actually pushing on us, we're stable. We can't be pushed back any further because we've got our balance. So we don't want to stand here and take this in a standing position because then we're going to be off balance and then we're going to try to be recouping, which means we're going to be behind in the fight. So as they come in and grab to push or just to grab, automatically step back and counter grab. That's your first move. Okay, as soon as they grab with both hands, step back and grab. Or if you see them come in with the push motion, practice stepping back and grab. Knee, stomp, cradle and crush. Now when I teach this to students, I tell them to practice first with them just grabbing you. Okay? Let them go ahead and get the grab on or get the push going as you do the technique. Then once you have the basic motion down, practice doing it before they grab. Okay, a lot of locks and a lot of these techniques, even though we teach them after the grab, they work 10 times better if you start practicing them as soon as they grab. Okay? As soon as you see that motion coming in, go right into it. Don't hesitate. Don't wait for them to start grabbing and shoving you around. Okay? As soon as you see the hands go into the technique you're going to use. Okay, again, knee of vengeance. Step back. Get your balance. Counter grab. Knee, stomp, cradle and crush. Okay, again, step back right. Counter grab. Knee, stomp, cradle and crush. Now a lot of the other students also sometimes will ask me, I'm left-handed, does it matter? In this particular technique, it doesn't matter. If you're left-handed, you can step back with your left, knee, stomp, cradle and crush. It's not going to make that difference to the technique because it's a two-hand grab or push. Okay, again, 1, 2, Jerry Lewis stance, up on the ball, toes pointed, turn those hips, cradle and crush using an open palm and elbow strike to the orbital eye socket, which will crush the orbital eye socket. And it's a hard technique to get right on target, so you're probably not going to do the damage that we're talking about, but it's always possible and it's there. But it's a very small area and delicate bone if you can get right on it. Okay, again, grab, knee, stomp, cradle and crush. Okay, from here, step back right, counter grab, making sure you come up between the arms, not over the top. We want to come between them, separate them as they come in. As the push comes in, separate those arms out. Knee, stomp, grab, cradle and crush. See how that back foot works with my elbow. Okay, again, step back, knee, stomp, cradle and crush. Okay, last time. 1, 2, 3, grab and strike. Okay, so now you know your first 4 techniques of yellow belt. You only got 6 more to go for Tracy's. Now on this technique, depending on who your instructor is, if you do it my way, make sure it's okay with them for testing purposes. Otherwise, do it their way for the test, but keep that my way and for streets or practicing purposes. But always check with your instructor if there's a difference to make sure it's okay to do it that way with them. Okay, so now you know Chinese sword, which is figure 8, stepping into the body. Then we got Japanese sword, we're still stepping in, but we're going to go to the outside this time. And then we got delayed sword. This time we're going to delay the action of the sword strike by going into cat, front snap kick, and chop. And now we have knee of vengeance. We step back, grab, knee, stomp, cradle and crush. Okay, those are your first 4 techniques, and this will conclude lesson 2. Hope to come back and see you for lesson 3 for your next 2 techniques.